I thank the member for that enlightenment. Would some honourable member care to move that the House take note of miscellaneous business?
Mr Speaker, I do so move.
Mr
Speaker.
Fletcher Tabuto.
Mr Speaker, it is wrong and it is misleading for that side of the House to talk about a surplus. It is a mythical conversation that comes straight off Planet Key, sir. Sir, I could go on for hours today about funding costs, about how this government has actively and deliberately cut costs and provisions to everyday households in New Zealand day after day after day. They are making decisions in the moment based on balancing a supposed budget that will cost us on this side of the House a fortune to repair in the near future. Sir, they do not know what they are doing. They are old-school bean counters who are lost in the 80s, and they have lost their way, Mr Speaker. For example, the public watched and they believed, as the government told them, that there was no more money for more frontline police on the streets of New Zealand. It wasn't until opposition parties in this House, finally supported by councils up and down this country, supported by the New Zealand public, said, no, we cannot take any more of this, we need more police, that the government finally decided to change their mind, Mr Speaker. The reality is, at this actual moment right now, we should not be talking about $1 billion surplus, sir. What we should be talking about, and what those on that side of the House need to acknowledge, is right at this moment, this government has run a $1 billion cash deficit, in fact. Quite the opposite of what they're claiming with the New Zealand public. And here's another kicker. While they talk about a surplus, government debt, sir, has grown almost exponentially under their watch, sir. Almost exponentially. It depends who you ask and who you talk to, but essentially they picked up next to no debt. No debt, no government debt when they took over the reins. Now here we are today, sir, and there is debate, there is no doubt, but there is no debate about how gigantic that number is, and it's anywhere from $60 billion to $100 billion today. That is the mastery of money that this government claims to have. Sir, what that represents for everyday New Zealanders, and this, again, these members need to be cognizant of this, is over $13,000 debt for every man, woman and child in New Zealand because of their so-called plan for the economy, Mr Speaker. The audacity of the Prime Minister to talk about tax cuts beggars belief. It is mind-boggling. Prime Minister, make our streets and our homes safe again. Don't let the lines for our hospitals go round the block for a third time. Right. Look after New Zealanders first before you talk about something like tax cuts. To be fair, Mr Speaker, I think the Prime Minister is truly perplexed. I think he cannot understand why there is money coming in for his mates, but it's not being spread evenly across the whole country. And I think he's genuinely confused about the level of inequality in New Zealand. Let me give you a piece of advice, Prime Minister. There is no such thing as the trickle-down effect. You and your mates making a truckload of money is not in the benefit of everyday New Zealander, Prime Minister. Think about instead the concept of trickle-up, which saved Western economies post-war. Make everyday Kiwis wealthy, make everyday Kiwis better off, and watch as businesses grow and make bucket loads of money themselves, Mr Speaker. Today in the House, we saw a Finance Minister, a Deputy Prime Minister, comfortable with the fact that hard-working Kiwi wage and salary earners bear the brunt of National's failed economic plan. But that government, that National Party, is happy to sit still and do nothing, sir, to address the daylight robbery that is being perpetuated on this country, because those on that side of the House think that business not paying their fair share of tax is somehow good for the rest of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.